Hey folks, welcome back to MusicalConman plays Slay That Spire. This time we're going to try an Ironclad Ascension 20 run, because that's what we do here on this channel now. It's a great time. Okay, I like Random Rare Relic. 3 potions is good for letting us fight early elites. So this would lose max HP. Sometimes it loses gold. So we have to fight an elite early on in an act no matter what we do. So there is a case for taking potions just to get through that. But I think if we have 3 fights and 2 hallways, 3 fights and 2 events and a campfire before an elite and a campfire right after, that should get us through it pretty well. Then we get our treasure chest. If we were feeling really frisky, we could fight the super elite, but I don't imagine we do that often. We could probably go event, shop, event, another elite maybe. I think I like the Random Rare Relic. Lizard Tail, when you die, heal to 50% of your max HP instead of dying. Works once. I mean, if it worked more than once, it would be a little ridiculous. So, we'll do a strike on each of these. You see on Ascension, like, 7, these each got, like, 4 armor. When you hit them, now they get, like, 9. So it's very difficult to kill them in a single... to kill one of them in a single turn. We are weak. We could block for 5, but then we can't kill one. If we deal 6, it makes it vulnerable, and this will also deal 6. So do we want to block and take 7, or not block and take 6? To me, the choice seems pretty clear. And the fight should be easy from this point onwards. Strike, strike, and strike. Heal back up to full health. Good fight. These are all decent cards to add early on. So Anger, Pommel Strike, or Shrug It Off. I'll take an Anger. I think the free damage is pretty premium, and the card draw from Pommel Strike wouldn't really matter. See? Anger does 6 extra damage this turn. Pommel Strike only would have done 3 more damage than Strike. We know we've got a Defend and a Cinder's Bane coming up. But then after that, we've got a lot of attacks in our discard, thanks to Anger. So we could block here if we think we can. We could block here, but we could also just do a bunch of damage because we're at full health, so taking 6 heals. So if we think we could either kill it or full block next turn, this is, I think, the right thing to do. So we either draw 2 strikes or a bash, or we draw a bunch of defends, so either way we would have been fine. We could take a Perfected Strike, it's just a big attack. We could take a Shrug It Off. I kind of like a Shrug It Off. Perfected Strike is a good big attack for sure. And it helps in a lot of these early fights. I'm gonna grab it. Let's do a question mark here, see what we get. I can't resist the Face Trader. The extra gold going into a shop would be nice, but then we'd miss a campfire. That's a very good face. Whenever you enter a question mark room, 50 gold. So I'm not in mind. Let's enter a question mark room. It's a fight, but we get money for it. So we strike, and we Angry, and we strike, and then we get Frail. So we're being attacked for 10. So we can probably... So next turn, Perfected Strike is going to deal 5, 6... So 6 plus 12 is going to be 18 damage. It's not going to make us weak. So if we get it down to... If we have it vulnerable and we have it down to 19 health, that'll definitely do it. Then we could defend. And we'll take 7. We'll heal back 6 of that. So then we get out of this fight at 67 out of 68. Seems good to me. I like a Clothesline. 12 damage, 2 weak, it's good stuff. Really nice card early on. It's going to be a hard hallway fight, unfortunately. But we can do 24, 30 damage. Okay, so we can't kill either of them. We definitely need to play the Perfected Strike, and I think we want to kill the Jawworm, because this thing just keeps inflicting negative effects and statuses on us, whereas this is going to gain strength. So if we can't kill the Jawworm relatively quickly, it's going to become a problem. Now, Clothesline does 12, and Strike does 6. So bash plus strike does 17, clothesline plus strike does 18. We have pretty good odds of killing it next turn if we just take a big hit here. And if we don't kill it, it's gonna probably give us an even bigger hit. Okay, actually it would have been completely fine because neither of them is attacking. Do we ever bash here and strike here? Having this be vulnerable would be nice for next turn, but not if we're planning to play attacks on this. So I think it makes sense to just do that and kill it. That's the obvious choice, but I wanted to check and see if there was a less obvious thing that might work well. At this point, I think blocking makes sense. We'll take 4 damage. And now we can blast it down. Swift potion, so we got 2 potions, good for going into an elite fight. Warcry could be good with all these 2-cost cards, but I think a Pommel Strike will be nice. It's 1 more 1-cost attack, and it does buff our Perfected Strike. Let's go to this Campfire, and I think the best thing to kill an elite is either going to be a Perfected Strike upgrade or a Bash upgrade. Bash upgrade is going to be better against Lagavulin and Gremlin Knob. Perfected Strike upgrade is going to be better against Sentries. So this would take this would give this 6 extra damage from, no, 7 extra damage because we have a Pommel Strike, so it would go from 20 to 27 damage. That's a pretty significant upgrade. The Bash upgrade is going to be better against the single target fights. I think the Perfected Strike upgrade is better against the Sentries, and okay against the single target fights, and it's good against hallway fights. I just want to make sure that whatever this is, it goes hopefully okay. Okay, so we get a Bash. We could consider a Clothesline to make it weak, but I really want to do a Bash into a big Perfected Strike. We're just gonna, it's gonna hit us once, probably twice. Alright, draw the Perfected Strike. Bad luck, so it is not vulnerable for that. This is a good artifact potion. We're going to gain 1 artifact. We're going to prevent the Gremlin Knob from making us vulnerable. So now it's attacking for 16 instead of 24. You know what? If I had actually looked at its health, I might have noticed that that was unnecessary because we're going to kill it this turn. So I wasted a potion. Not a good play at this level. Look at all those difficulty modifiers. Let's take an Akabeko. Akabeko is good with Pummel. Brutality is interesting. It's kind of mixed. We could Headbutt to put one of our big things back on top, but I think Pummel... I don't want to get too attached to Akabeko, but also this does 40 damage on turn 1 a decent amount of the time. I think we could try a Super Elite. We have 47 health, and we have a Lizard Tail. We have an upgraded Bash, and an upgraded Perfected Strike. So if we have... the upgraded Bash is going to do really well against Big Lagavulin. Yeah, I'll take an Art of War if we don't know what kind of deck we might want. And with the Lizard Tail and the Swift Potion, I think we've got pretty good odds of killing what we need to kill. Alright. We never do... I mean, it would be really nice to play Bash or Clothesline, but we're never going to do better than 40 damage, right? With Akabeko. It's really good. Plus we get all these strikes out of the way. I think we just play it. Like, I would love to play Pummel and then Bash plus or Clothesline or whatever, but even just these strikes are good enough. I don't think we use the Draw Potion for this. So it has 2 strength, so it's going to hit us more. We can take 2 hits from it, so 22 twice. And then it'll buff, so we don't need to worry about blocking. We can just try to kill it. That said, I think we'll be able to kill it and block some. If it's vulnerable, we can do a big Perfected Strike next turn, hopefully. Or the turn after that. Okay, so that does 40, 49, 58. But we never kill it this turn. Unless we used our draw potion and we specifically drew another copy of Anger, which seems pretty low chances. Well, hold on. 40, 49, so we need to deal 11. So if we drew another Anger, that would do it. If we drew a Pommel Strike, that would do it. So that is 2 out of... Okay, so 2 out of 10 cards would do it. No, there'd be 2 Angers. Okay, so 3 out of 11 cards would do it, and we would be... No, we're drawing this, definitely. Okay. So it'd be 10 cards, and 3 of them would do it, and we're drawing 2 of them. So... I haven't taken statistics in a while, but that is not terrible odds to kill it this turn. Right? Pommel Strike does do it, right? 9 damage plus 50% is more than 11. Three out of 10 do it. So 7 out of 10 chance we don't get it times a 6 out of 9 chance we don't get it is 42 out of 90. So we actually have better odds to get it than not get it. The alternative is to take 17 and keep our potion. But I think this is worth taking a shot at, because if we keep that health, it does a lot for us. Okay, we got it. So now we can Perfected Strike and Strike. Math. Frozen Egg. Whenever you add a power card into your deck, upgrade it. I don't know if we need another Anger right now. One usually gets the job done pretty well. I don't think we need any of these. But we have killed the Super Elite just using one potion and not taking that much damage. So I'm very happy about that. No, we don't have to do that later. Would have been too much to ask for a pummel on turn 1, huh? So 14 plus 12 will kill one of these, then we take 9. If we block, we take 7. I think I'd rather take 7. Hopefully one of these is going to buff next turn. I could also not play any attacks and wait to instantly kill one of them with Pummel. But if I draw Perfected Strike first, I'd rather play that. So I think it makes sense to just get started on this. So we'll take 7. If we killed one, we would become vulnerable, so that would deal 9. Okay. So now we can kill this one. We are blocked for one of the vulnerables. Next time we have a big Perfected Strike and an Anger, hopefully. Well, we just have a Perfected Strike. We get a Fear Potion, super useful. Do I want to take another Pommel Strike? It does make our Perfected Strike better, but it makes our Perfected Strike less frequent. And if we have a Frozen Egg, presumably we want to start getting some good powers soon, right? So this makes this deal 3 more damage. With an Anger, the card draw is a little extra nice. I think let's take it, but I'm kind of borderline on that one. So Shop, question mark, Elite seems like a good plan to me. Okay, we could do a Corruption. We could do a Master of Strategy. Toy Ornithopter is a lot of healing. We could do an Orrery, and that could be a really good way to get some powers in our deck. Get some strong stuff going. If we do that, we don't get to take Corruption. But we could Orrery and card remove, and this gives us... I think once we have an egg, Orrery becomes much stronger. Because we don't have to take them, we can just look at them. Orichalcum is also very good. I think I'd like to try an Orrery here. Okay. So Clothesline, Heavy Blade, Cleave. We could get another Perfected Strike, or we could get an Impervious. We could get another Pommel Strike or a Wild Strike. We could get a Shrug It Off. Or we could get a Rupture. Wow, only 1 power in all of that, and it's a pretty bad power because it doesn't synergize with anything we do. This is kind of a whiff. So the question is, do we take another Perfected Strike, or do we just take a big Impervious? If we take another Perfected Strike, we're doing a lot of damage in the short term. I think I want to Shrug It Off. I could consider a second wind. It really just exhausts defense. It can exhaust an Ascender's Bane for a block. I don't know that that's very exciting. In retrospect, I would rather have taken Corruption. So we could take another Clothesline, but I don't think so. I think we'd rather just upgrade that Clothesline. Cleave would be area of effect damage. We don't have any of that. I think we should take a Cleave just for some AoE fights in Act 2. So now it's just Perfected Strike or Impervious. I think Impervious is, we're going to be more glad to have it. It's a lot of block. I don't think Rupture is useful if we don't have any cards that work with it. So I think we'll skip those two. We could do a Wild Strike. That would have been better if we took the other Perfected Strike, but we didn't. We could have taken the Wild Strike with the second wind, and we still could. We could take a second wind and another Wild Strike, just to make that one Perfected Strike real big. I think a second wind is good enough to keep. Oh, do I not get to go back to that card reward screen? Huh. Apparently I can only skip it twice. I think we'll be fine without the Wild Strike. I wish I could go back and... Here it is. Wow. Really weird. Okay, let's take it. It's that or another Pommel Strike, but 12 damage is a lot. It's more than 9 damage. Okay. With that in mind, we can look at the shop again. Wow, weird menu. I think it makes sense to... We could remove a regular strike. We could add another Wild Strike. If we add another Wild Strike, we've got a lot of short-term damage, but we have no scaling. And we'll need powers, probably, to get that. We could take a Discovery, we could take a card remove. I think it still makes sense to remove a strike here. It gets rid of Perfected Strike. Alright, so we can block here. Considering that we have an Akabeko, and we'd love to draw Pummel with that, I think full blocking here makes perfect sense. For this reason. So then we can deal a little damage, draw a card. Oh, and Art of War also gave us extra energy this turn. So we were just wailing on it. So much for a hard hallway fight, huh? We do have a Cleave now, so let's pop it. Liquid Bronze is a decent potion. We could take another second wind. We only have one Wild Strike. We could take a Twin Strike. But we only have one Perfected Strike. We took Impervious instead. And we don't have any strength gain, so Twin Strike isn't necessarily that great. Second wind is okay, but I don't think we need more than one right now. Let's fight an elite. Alright. So we could draw a card, but I don't know if we want to. If we make it vulnerable, then this would go from 38 to 56. No, wait. Where did I get that? Half 38 is 19, so plus 19 is 57 damage. Okay, those are pretty close, guess. So 57 damage, and then this would deal back down to 12, but then up to 18. So 75 damage this turn. On the other hand, if we don't, we just do 50 damage this turn. And then it's at 40, and I think it attacks us next turn, and that's fine. 8 health is fine. And we kill it the turn after. I think we can deal 40 damage in 2 turns. I would love to draw a Bash right now. I haven't, so I will play a Clothesline. It would do more damage to play Strike and Cleave, but I think it's worth a little bit of block. Even if it's just 2, so we'll take 6, and we almost certainly kill it this turn. We barely do. Meat on the Bone is incredible. If your HP is below half, heal. Oh my goodness, I love a Metallicized Plus, but a feed with Meat on the Bone to get us really high max HP. I think we can... I think we are totally strong enough to make a feed work right now. I think we are strong enough to make feed work against Guardian. So we'll upgrade for 1 extra max HP this fight. 41 health is a lot. So if we deal 38 damage right now, we can just wait. We don't have to split it yet. Then we can split in the future. We don't have any powers to get into play. Okay, so 6, 12, so we can split it with just that. But even just getting a bash going would be pretty good. We could also fully block this turn if we wanted, but I think we'd like to save that. So we have split the enemy. Next turn. Alright, just attacks. Making it weak deals 4 damage to us, but it blocks 3. And it blocks more next turn. Meat on the Bone is active, for what that's worth. We have a second wind, so if we put a Wild Strike to put a wound in our discard, that's actually pretty good. I would love to make it vulnerable for next turn, but this gets us extra block, and it's attacking for 20 next turn. I'm thinking about whether we need a Thorns Potion to deal extra damage against it. I'm thinking real hard about it, because the Bash is not going to be in our next draw pile, but we do have Vulnerable Potion for that. I think we can live. So if we second wind, it will exhaust all these and fully block. I kind of want to play... I don't know if I want to exhaust all my defense yet. It doesn't fully block, does it? I think we need a Thorns Potion here. If we're trying to feed on this enemy, let's not mess around. We need to make sure it dies, because if we're thinking about intentionally prolonging the fight, it could go real bad for us. Okay, I don't think we want to split this turn, but if we did split this turn, we could get 18 and then 45. But the rest of our deck is not very block good. So alternatives would be we could Perfected Strike and... okay, that kills. If it's weak next turn, that doesn't really matter. But if we split it this turn, it being weak next turn does actually help. Then, worst case scenario, next turn it attacks for like 9, and then the next turn it attacks for like 16, so it could kill us if we don't have any block. So Shrug It Off, Defend, and Impervious. Next turn it's going to do a really big attack. We could also draw Impervious next turn. We could also draw this and see what it is. And see whether we want to split. We don't have to use the Vulnerable Potion to split, but we might want to. The thing is, if we use it to split here, then we won't have the Vulnerable Potion for the following split, because this split we can totally do. Like, we can deal 12, 20, 29, and leave it with 9 left to pop. And we can deal 30 and leave it 8 left to pop. I think let's try and do it next turn. Okay, we drew a strike, so that actually makes it a little easier to block by changing its form. But if we can deal 12 and leave it at 9, we still have a vulnerable pot if we really need to split, so we just need to deal 18 damage this turn. We can do exactly that, or we could fully block and split next turn with a bunch of attacks. I think this is what our Impervious is for. Because next turn it's not blocked, and we will not have any defense. So let's do that. Let's add some Anger. Let's add some Strike. I want a vulnerable pot. Is it that good if we do the bash? If I do this, actually, if I vulnerable pot, it would split itself with the thorns. So here it'll go down to 3. Alright, so now it's going to debuff us. We don't want that. I think it's time to do as much damage as we can to it. So we'll draw one of those. Play that. I think we want to just deal as much damage as possible, but that adds a wound into our draw for next turn. So this deals 15, but this deals 18 and 12. So this deals 30, so it deals 19 actually. But next turn is bad. I could also do this and try to draw the wound. I might want to shrug it off just to get a better defensive, just to get that strike out of my draw pile. And with that in mind, maybe I just want to try and block as much as I can next turn, so I'll just deal a pitiful 1 damage to it, but I get 5 fresh cards, including a defend. So it's going to deal 5 to us. So then we're at 14. So then we have to draw a defense card or we die the following turn. I would love to Wild Strike, but I think we need to take it easy. Defense card. Okay. We live. Sucks to draw the Perfected Strike this turn. We really want it next turn. If we Pommel Strike, what are the odds that we draw a defensive card? 3 out of 12. And if we miss, we die. That seems like not good odds. So we're just going to take our lumps, unfortunately. We get extra energy this turn. Okay. We cannot deal 60 damage to split it, though, so we do just die to Guardian. Unfortunate. Maybe I should have rested. Clothesline plus defend gets us close, but it doesn't quite do it, does it? Things are difficult at this Ascension level. Oh, Lizard Tail! I was looking at my phone because I thought I was done, but we have Lizard Tail. Shout out to Lizard Tail. That's why we made aggressive choices here. Let's draw a Bash. Right? Yeah. So we deal 10. And then we can do a split next turn, maybe? We don't want to split right now, do we? No, we want to deal damage to it for free. So we got 25 health. Anyway, the run is fine. I was never scared. Alright, this is what I'm talking about. So first we'll deal 9 to get through that block. Then we'll deal a tasty 45. Making it weak next turn would be fine, but what about making it dead? Okay. What are the odds that we draw something that kills it in 1 hit? Pretty low, right? So we'll take that. Okay, and we'll take 3 more damage to finish it. Would have loved to feed, but you know what, maybe I should have fed. Exhume could let us feed again. Immolate is just very strong a lot of the time, and it works well with Second Wind. Demon Form gets us a lot of strength if we can block until then. These are all really nice choices. Exhume is the greediest of all because it doesn't really help us at all, except by letting us feed multiple times for fight. Immolate helps us a lot in some, like, for front-loaded damage in some fights, but with a Perfected Strike and potentially Akabeko'd Cleave or Pummel, we have some pretty good turn 1 options, but we don't have any scaling for big enemies. Energy but you can't rest, energy but you get curses, energy but you get wounds. I think with a Second Wind in the deck, energy but you get wounds is actually okay. There are some powers we could get that would even make that a good thing. Okay, question marks are very good with Serpent Head and in Act 2 in general. So we could take like every question mark here and then go to a shop there, going through an elite, get to a campfire, another elite if we want on a shop. Well, once we get to this node we can decide if we want to guaranteed fight an elite, but with 2 campfires here it's pretty doable. And if we don't like all these question marks we can go a different way. Alright, this is a good Pummel, but it's also a good Perfected Strike. Nah, Pummel is just way better. When is Pummel going to be better than this, right? This deals less than 40 damage, this deals 40 damage, and it reduces its plated armor by more. Plated armor by more. Yikes. So I could take 16 to deal 30 more damage. I could even deal 42 more damage. I can almost feed. But I don't think that'll be necessary. If I played a colorless potion, what are the odds I could kill it? If I got the one that makes it vulnerable, I could do it. If I got Hand of Greed, I could do it. If I got Swift Strike that deals 6 damage, 48 damage, I could also do it. But I can also fully block this turn. How hard is it to fully block this enemy for the rest of the fight? Medium. I'm gonna give it a shot. Okay. Dark Shackles also lets us play Defend and Perfected Strike here. I think that's a good compromise. It's that or Flash of Steel. Flash of Steel could make it lose 2 plated armor, but if we Dark Shackles, we do that, we defend, we take 7, and we deal 30. I think that's pretty reasonable. Alright, so we can kill it this turn. Is it worth taking 12 to try and feed a long time from now? We have meat on the bone, so getting below half HP is actually not as big a deal. So I'm going to give it a shot. Alright. So that reduces the plated armor. That draws a card. We could mash to make it vulnerable, but we're kind of trying to stall for a while, so we'll just block as much as possible. We'll take another 5. This gets us to 37. Okay. We defend. We anger. And now we have a real decision to make. Do we want to take 16 to try and feed? We do heal. If we lose 3 HP, we heal 12. So really we'd be taking 4, as long as we don't take more after that. I'm willing to take 4 to feed, because meat on the bone would heal us anyway. Alright, that will unfortunately kill it, is the big problem. So we could take 6 more. This is getting real risky. Reduce its plated armor a little more. I don't know. I don't know if I should be doing this. Okay, we got the feed. Okay, so we got to 19, and we got back up to 37. Oh, right, I forgot about Burning Blood, so we healed 18. So we're back up to 37, which is exactly where we were when I said, should we kill it now or take a bunch of damage? Okay, we can take a Combust. That's good. AoE. Scaling. We also have a Demon Form now, so do we really need the long scaling? Headbutt is actually good for trying to feed. And it's question mark time. I'll spend some extra gold for extra potion options. Heart of Iron is really good. Elixir would be great if we had Feel No Pain, but we don't. I'm going to take a Liquid Bronze just for a little extra damage. Good. Now leave. Alright, it's the birds. This is the Thorns Potion fight, almost certainly, right? So we could deal 9, and then this would be 19. So we can kill one. That seems reasonable. We could also deal 19, and then... Wait, this isn't 38. This would be 30. So we could deal 9, and then 15, but it's actually 22. So 9 plus 22. We could kill any of these. Taking a couple damage here gets us... We want to lose 2 health. So getting below that threshold would be great. I'd love to feed this turn, but it just doesn't seem possible. We could also fully block and see what we get. Playing a Perfected Strike this turn seems really good. Playing a Thorns Potion seems really good. We're going to be able to headbutt the feed later. I think it's going to be pretty easy to take 2 damage in this fight at some point. Oh, but the feed will raise our damage, raise our health first. We'll go to 76. So this will heal us for 4. So we'd go to 38. So we don't need to be below 35 this fight. We need to get below 34. So we need to take 3 damage. Let's just take out one of these big ones. And I think it's pretty reasonable to use a Thorns Potion here. It helps a lot in this fight. But it also makes it difficult to stall until we can feed. But it also makes it easy to get them low enough to feed. Tough one. Look at our draw pile. We got a pummel. That knocks one of them down. Anger helps. I think we could try saving the potion. But it might be wise to use it. We do have a elite fight coming up. One of these paths. I think it's just crucial to deal as much damage to these as we can. So our meat on the bone is active. Alright. So now we can headbutt our other friend back on top. We can block for 10. No, 15. We can exhaust the demon form. So let's do that. This thing will die just from attacking us. This thing will not get close. But if we deal 4 damage, that prevents 1 damage from hitting us. I think it's better to do 4 damage to that. We'll put the feed on top, and we'll hope that we can kill this one next turn. It's going to be a little difficult, but we can give it a shot. Give me an anger. Okay, that's awesome. So we can knock it down. Then we can cleave it. Then we can feast. So we get up to 32. We heal up to 50. Warcry. We've got several 2-cost cards and a 3-cost card. And we've got a feed. So Warcry gives us a little more hand control. Let's give it a shot. I think we'll be okay against this thing. Let's do as much damage as we can. I'll play this. Worked out fine. Pardon me, recording. I'm getting a phone call here. So I am just going to quietly mute myself here.
you